What's up? It's your boy E.T. Look, if you're looking to or you got to raise the bar on your marriage, you gotta click the link and get into Married into Crazy, y'all. I'm telling you, this coaching is gonna take your relationship to another level. Now look, you already know you need to raise the bar. You know that already. So stop thinking or overthinking. Click that link, and Marriage into Crazy is gonna take you and your spouse to marital bliss. Now you know. Click the button. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And it's funny because this was a take two. It's been so long since we've actually put out a live episode. Just life be lifing, y'all. And we took a little time off to get some things in order. And then when we tried to hit record, I forgot my name.
Lovey was like, why does this look like this? I was like, just push record.
Yeah, it was crazy. So, hey, we want to welcome everybody back and thank you for your patience as we continue to go through this season of change within our household. The good news is the dust is settling.
I'm like, is there good news? Because I was like, what? Tell me. No, I'm playing. I'm kidding. It's all good.
No, the dust is settling. Our grandson is getting settled into the home. The major freakouts and the changes, I mean, it's gone to a minimum. They still exist.
I was about to say, but see, I wish that you wouldn't say stuff like that, because the last time we said that, we had a whole week of nothing but chaos. It was absolutely bananas. It was crazy. So I said that we're just going to let it, whatever happens, happen.
I'm speaking positivity into existence.
I feel you. We did that last time.
Anyway, so we're a couple that have been married for 26 years and we have 3 children. We've been through a whole gamut of things. If you look at our history, you see that we had some major drama before we actually began this journey of marriage. Before we said I do, I'd been stabbed through the heart, went through 2 open heart surgeries by her ex-boyfriend, estranged ex-boyfriend that broke into the house and attacked Snooks. So there's a whole line of things that had transpired since then. Survived that. There was a near divorce experience 4 years into our marriage. And
survived that.
And we moved from a position of survival into a position of thriving when it comes to our relationship. And because of that, we felt compelled, and we've been asked multiple times for years to actually work with other couples in the living rooms of our friends. We were getting invited to friends' homes to meet friends of theirs that we didn't know, to talk, discuss, chat, chop it up about marriage and what we've been through, and to help those individuals with their marriages. And after a certain period of time, we was like, I think we can do this. So we got some certifications.
Mm-hmm. And, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to not seem present, but we said I'm like in song mode or something, because you're like, we went from survival to thriving, and as soon as you said survival, Grandmaster Flash popped in my head. That song Survival. It's called Survival. Only the strong can survive. Remember that?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so key, and it's actually very fitting though when you think about it. Only the strong can survive in a marriage because of what it takes to survive, and not just survive, but thrive. We got past survival, because when I think about survival, I'm picturing somebody holding on to a log in the ocean so that they don't drown, or they don't, you're on a raft or something like that. Tangent number 1. Sorry. More to come, promise.
No, and that's the truth. I mean, look, check it out. So we have friends that are in the industry that are also podcasters, that are also marriage coaches. You think about Quest. And there's another brother that Quest does a podcast with. It's not new. They were around before us, but then they took a hiatus and now they're back doing it again. It's called Marriage Ain't for Suckers. Because it really isn't. Right. And you're going to hear that we're a real couple. We're just like you as you're listening to this podcast.
We are very real.
Very real. So you're going to get the ums and the ahs, and we don't edit that out simply because that's just not who we are. That's how we talk. That was no dig. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm celebrating your realness.
My vernacular.
your
Lack
realness.
thereof.
Crazy is an acronym that stands for compassionate,
Real,
accountable,
zealous,
and yielding.
yes.
And we try to live that on a daily basis. And we're very real when Snooks is
Yeah.
So that's the realness. That's part of it. That is a dig. I was saying that's not a dig, but it is a dig. Just a little bit.
That just reminded me of E40. Dum.
Oh. So we're gonna make a so it's a remix, the song, the song.
You know what? I'm gonna make it real. I don't even know how to do that, but I'm about to.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, so we want to thank everybody for coming back and listening. And we ask you to do us a huge favor to go over to wherever you're listening to us, whatever that modality is, whether it's iTunes, well, specifically Apple Podcasts, or if you're over on wherever you are, Spotify, what have you. If you have the ability to give some stars, please go in there and give a rating of the podcast. If you're able and you have the time, please go in and leave a review as well. And if you really have time, swing on over to marriedintocrazy.com and look at all the wonderful things that we're doing. I had mentioned that because people have been asking us to help them out, to coach them when it came to their marriage, we decided to go get some certifications to make it legit. So we are both extreme execution coaches trained directly by Dr. Eric Thomas. I worked with ET directly and worked with him as part of one of his first classes, as a matter of fact, when it came to certifications for life coaching. And Snooks worked with his right-hand man, who is now running the show. Snooks was trained by none other than Mustafa Ghonem. And what are you going to say?
First CB.
No, well, Mustafa was your first coach.
Oh,
he trained you.
Was. He sure was in CB. Don't leave CB.
I forgot. Oh, true. And then CB did her, that's Mr. Carl. I call him Crystal Ball for CB, but it's, so shout out to CB as well. But no, we had that certification, but then we thought, let's go a little bit further. And then we ended up getting level 1, level 2 certified when it came to the Gottman Institute, specifically for the Gottman couples method therapy of coaching. Theirs is of counseling, but we don't counsel, we coach, we walk people through. And eventually Snooks is most likely going to go through level 3 for clinicians as well. Yeah.
Really? He just don't speak for me.
I love speaking stuff into existence.
Especially when it has to do with me.
I love telling you what to do.
We know.
How do we know that? Because we're DISC certified as well. And I am a high pilot or a high D.
A high bossy.
A high bossy. That is me. And so anyway, we say all that just to let you know our background, our perspective, what we bring to the table when we're working with couples. Because God saw fit to actually bring us to it and through it, we make sure that on a daily basis, we reach out to other couples and we work. That's our calling. We have day gigs, that we're both very proud of and enjoy, but this is our calling, to reach out and work with other couples or other individuals that are still in search of that special individual that's going to spend the rest of their lives with them. Mm-hmm. So with that said, people have a tendency to forget that marriage is a covenant. A covenant is a contract. Mm-hmm. And by contract, I always think of businesses. Like if I'm going to enter a contractual agreement with you, when we do our coaching, we walk into an agreement. We have a coaching agreement, which is technically a contract for the services that we're going to render, right? And a covenant is a way of talking about the services that we're going to render to each other, but God is the co-signer on that thing.
That's true. It's just funny because you're talking about signatures and stuff, and I know it's not the same thing, but didn't we have to sign our marriage license?
We did.
So, I mean, that's the very first document that we signed. That was the agreement. We're going to do all those things that we said in the service, and we signed it and signed, sealed, and delivered.
All right. So I've got a copy somewhere where she said, I
never said that. I never said that. I already know you're going to be saying obey. I never said that.
I wasn't going to say obey.
You was about to say it. What you was going to say?
I was not going to say obey.
What?
I was going to say, I promised to put on the leather and the lace as you dictate on a daily basis, and I will do whatever you say. I was going to change it up a little bit. I was going to say obey. I was.
Anyway, because they saw my face. They know that was not what I said.
But it is truly a contract. And it's one of those things. Have you ever thought about your relationship, your marriage? your covenant as an agreement before God, as something that you that's legally, I should say, not even legally, spiritually binding, barring, as we always say,
Abuse.
in any way, shape, or form. And abuse comes in a variety of different ways. As long as there is no abuse and you're both of sound mind and working on your marriage, you should be able to work it out.
Yes. I mean, that, because you should never ever go into a marriage with the idea that, well, if it don't work out,
I know somebody out there was like, well, prenup is a contract as well.
and that's true.
It is. And that's more legally binding, but we're talking about the contract between man and woman, and saying, hey, this is what we're going to do. And we should really approach this like a business, because there is a business of marriage, right? That's what a contract is. We're talking about businesses, what have you. Marriage truly is a business. So let's get into it. I want to talk about the business of marriage.
Well, let's go get into it.
So in my job, I work for corporate America. And what we normally do is we have an annual review. Every year, we do a review of what the past 12 months was like. What did I experience? What did I achieve? What I didn't achieve? Did I hit certain metrics, certain goals? Did I maintain my agreement? And based on that performance, I get a raise, anywhere from 3 to 6% sometimes, or what have you. And not only do you have the annual review, there's also a mid-year review. So as we're approaching the annual review, we stop to kind of, I don't know, take inventory of what's been transpiring. How are we looking at hitting these goals? And then we make adjustments at that mid-year point, which, by the way, everybody, we're about to be June.
It's crazy, right?
Crazy. And because of that, you're at the mid-year mark. If you look at the annualized year, you're looking at that. So now it's time for us to really sit down and have our mid-year discussion about how are we doing? Now, we check in all the time, but from the business side of it, or the business perspective of it, the mid-year is coming up soon. And there's a variety of things that we do in our check-ins, and at the mid-year and at the annual, if you will, the end of the year. And really, she does talk when she decides to jump in.
When you let me. But anyway, so kind of to your point, when you talk about the reviews, you have your performance appraisals and your annual reviews, mid-year reviews. Sometimes they may even be quarterly. And that gives both parties the opportunity to discuss things from their own perspectives, share from their perspective, like you said, what transpired, what didn't transpire, how what transpired affected the end result, or if there were certain goals that we had. Did we miss the mark? Did we hit the mark? Are we extending it? Because there are sometimes, you have quotas that you're supposed to meet in business, and you may have to table those because for what is that, outside influences or whatever, circumstances, things that are going on that may be outside of your, you can't do anything about that.
Right.
So, but in a marriage, it's kind of the same thing. We call it the check-in, and we do it quite often. It's not as formal as someone does it in their company. But we share the perspectives, we each share our perspective of how things are going. Well, it's going good for me. How about you, or whatever the verbiage is that we say. And then you have the opportunity to say, well, this is what I'm experiencing. This is how I'm feeling. I didn't like blah, 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 and then you discuss it, like you said. And if it's tabled, or not even so much tabled, we discuss how we're going to work on it together. Is not you need to fix that. You need to, or I need to, you're telling me, pointing a finger at me, saying what I need to do. Is what can we do collectively, collaboratively, because it is a collaboration.
So
it's not
I
just
like that word.
Well, collaborate. All right, I'm saying it often.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying? It's not, I never feel like it's just for one person to do one thing or to do a number of things, because what if, I mean, from my perspective, I'm doing okay, or I'm doing whatever, and you say, well, this is bothering me. So now we sit and we make adjustments together, because I can't just be the one adjusting and you, well, hey, I mean, why is it just my responsibility to
Right.
make moves, or to it's like I said, collaboration. Let's do it together. And then we can even set, all right, in 30 days, let's review what we just went over, and see how whatever the implementations that we made, how they're doing, how they.
I like that. So let's break it down even further. So usually when you have these annual reviews or mid-year reviews with your company, it's usually you and a superior, right? You and your manager, you and your director, whoever you report to,
Yeah,
supervisor.
I'm your superior. So yeah, it's me and you.
So in a marriage, it's more like project management, where you have peers, partners that are getting together to check in to see how we are actually progressing on this project.
Right.
Right. So it's not I laud over you and you have to report to me and what have you. Unless, of course, you're really into role play. The role play part is really cool and crucial at times in your marriage, but that's a whole other podcast.
And crucial.
That's a whole other podcast. Anyway, but here's what we're going to do. Before we get to the annual, there needs to be the mid-year. Before the mid-year, or sometimes, like you said, there can be quarterly. Mm-hmm. And there's just check-ins, because you have meetings. I know that my team and I, we meet for a specific account. We meet every 2 weeks. There's some type of touch point every couple of weeks, checking in. Mm-hmm. In a marriage, we should be checking in as well. We do it on a weekly, bi-weekly. Sometimes it's just random, but we do check in. So what does that look like? You were talking about implementations. And a lot of times in business, it's called many things, but the most common phrase is stop, start, continue. Okay. So what does that look like? Those are somebody out there is smiling, or either A, you're smiling, or B, like, oh my God, here we go. Now I got to hear about stop, start, continue, even in marriage. Look, what we do is sit down, have a conversation. How are things going? I don't know. What do we need to stop? Let's focus on that.
I like that. What do we need to stop?
Oh yeah, this isn't like, here's what I need you to stop as soon as possible.
Right now, like yesterday.
And it might come to that, but it's the intent is to be, what do we need to stop as a couple? Right? Mm-hmm. We're going to check in and figure, okay, well, what could that be? Hey, we need to stop hanging around with couple XYZ, because every time I get around, there's just drama and I don't like it. Mm-hmm. It might be something as simple. That's not really simple, but it could be something like that. It could be, hey, we need to stop using this particular bank because, man, we're getting crushed, or it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense when a lot of our funds are somewhere else.
Or it could be, we need to stop being so negative. Even if you don't feel like you're the negative one, I feel like if I say, hey, babe, we need to, maybe have a more positive attitude about. So I'm saying I'm including myself in that. And that will prevent you, I feel like, from putting the walls up. Because if I say, you need to stop being so negative, automatically you're going to go defense. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. No, because it puts you on your heels, like, oh, she's in attack mode. And it's not about attacking. If you are attacking, it's you as a couple attacking stuff, challenges, issues, things that need to be resolved. It's you as a combined force attacking something to find a solution. So what do we need to stop? That's where you start, right? But then, speaking of the word start, then you ask yourselves, okay, well, what should we start? Is there anything that we need to start doing? And you can always refer back to, let's say, your vision board. Oh, you know what? We said we were going to do this, and we haven't even done, one thing. Let's start, right? So it's like, we said we were going to start a business. Well, the first thing we need to do is, let's just form an LLC. Let's get that done. Let's start that. We'll figure out all the other pieces, but let's start with that. Let's get a business license. Let's get things going. Let's do that, right? And then we can go get the bank and do all these things. I'm just using business as an example, but it could be something as simple as, hey, we said we were going to start looking for a house cleaner because we're so overwhelmed and we're complaining about the house. Why don't we start that process? Let's at least gather some information. That's a start. Then the third arm of this is continue. What do we need to continue? What's been working for us that we definitely want to continue? Right? So you've already gone through stop. That's basically what's not working for us and it needs to stop. You've identified some opportunity. You're like, what do we need to start? But then you really spend some time looking into, what do we continue? I'd even say get into a conversation about, why do we want to continue this? What's so good about it? Why are we both on the same accord? Like, yeah, I agree. We like this. Well, what is it about this that we like? Because when you can identify certain things, right, the underlying dimensions, the common denominator as to why we like this and why we want to continue it, when you know what it is that's making that successful or so impactful in your marriage, you might be able to apply those same principles to something else. So if we're going to start something, we want to apply the same principles. Whatever's making this successful that we want to continue, let's take some of those key learnings and apply them to these things that we want to start. So that's where you have your stop, start, continue. And you can do that periodically. You can do it quarterly, what have you. But then when you get to the point in the year, like now, you're coming up on June, it's like, okay, how are we doing? All the things we were talking about. We've done the stop, start, continue. We've stopped a few things. We started a few things. We've continued a few things. How are we tracking for our big goal? Do we even have a big goal?
I was about to say, well, I mean, you just said it though. Do we have a big goal? And a lot of times, from what the people that we we in our coaching, some of the couples, if you say what is your big goal, they'd be like, what is that, and what does that look like? Their big goal is to still be married.
And that's it. That's
on
honorable.
Tuesday, or to still like each other, to still want to, hang out or whatever, next week. So, but your big goal is what you decide it is. It doesn't have to be what someone else's big goal is, or how they're, what they're looking like. Our big goal, family wise, is coming up in two weeks. We set a goal to go on vacation again.
And this particular location has been on our board for like 2 years.
A minute. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we planned it out. It wasn't like tomorrow we're going to go. I mean, if you got it like that, then hey, show me how to have it like that. No, I'm playing.
No, but we had to, exactly. We had to create, this is a great example. We had to create a plan. So when we were in Jamaica in 2021, we were like, oh, you know what? Everyone kept talking about this other place. And we're like, let's set a goal to go to that place. We weren't going to do it the following year, but it was like, let's really set this goal. And we had this big goal, and then we reduced it into these steps, if you will. And it really came down to, we didn't really call it as such, but if you really think about the process, it really did come down to, what do we need to stop so we can ensure that we can afford to actually go, and not put it on credit cards and not, go into debt over this, but what do we need to stop in order to make sure that we can financially afford this? What do we need to start doing in order to make sure that we stick to these goals so that we can actually end up going on this vacation? What do we need to continue? What's working for us? Okay, we do this, 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 and this. So we were already kind of operating in this premise for this big goal. And things changed. We had to make a shift. I was
about to say, but also give yourself grace, and also not that something will happen, but sometimes things happen.
Life be lifing.
Life be life. And so now we have an additional person that's going with us that was not on the menu when we first said we was going to do this. So just know that wrenches will be thrown in the plan sometimes. Don't lose it going off on each other, getting so frustrated that I'm just throwing my hands up and it's just not going to happen. Take some time to process because I think a lot of times we really don't take that time to process what's going on. It's like you got a negative review or something like that. Automatically, number one, like I said, you go on defense or whatever. Anytime something is not going the way that you think it should be going or how you envisioned it, take time to process it and then make a move after the processing. Because a lot of times when we move too quickly or we move with our emotions and with our feelings, we sometimes make things worse. More times than not, I feel like we've made a bad situation worse than it would have been.
No, agreed. I 100% agree with you. Because, like we said, life be life. And so there's times where you're going to have to actually pivot. And we had to make a decision. Is this little guy going to go with us on this trip? Do we have anybody that can actually watch him? We threw out different lines, and we're not going to go into that. But it just came down to like, nope, he's part of the family, so he's going to go with us. So we had to make some adjustments. Like, okay, this was not in the original plan. We've got to make some financial adjustments. And are we able to do that? So we had to shift some things and move things around. And it all worked out for the good. So we're not looking forward to it. He's looking forward to it, but it's part of the process, right? So it's part of this thing. So
We're not looking forward to it.
so we are.
I thought you said we're not looking forward to it. I was like, really? Okay.
No, we are looking forward
Okay,
to
I
it.
thought you said
I said we're
weren't.
looking forward to it, and he's looking forward to it.
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. Because I was like, that's messed up.
No. So that's just an example of something that came up real life in our world that we had to utilize this. Now, you have this mid-year review and you're thinking, okay, well, how are we doing? So we're going to be talking about where are we at with our goals. We have some financial goals. We have some goals for the home. We have some goals for the house, things that we wanted to do. There's different things that we had. There's educational goals. There's so many different things. And we're going to check in. How are we tracking? What are we doing? What do we need to stop? Are there distractions that we've allowed to take us off course? Are there some things that we need to start that can we start a different routine that's going to create a better opportunity for us to really achieve our goals on the timeline or even faster than we originally thought? What has been working? What do we need to continue? Give that a try. Get out a piece of paper and sit down and have a conversation and just write really across there. A third of the page, stop, another third of the page, start, another third of the page, continue, and just spitball and have this conversation about what do we need to do? And you can do this in different segments of your relationship. You can be like, okay, for our intimacy, what do we need to stop, start, continue? When it comes to our finances, what do we need to stop, start, continue? When it comes to, any different way, maybe it's parenting. Maybe it's, we want to buy a house. What do we need to stop, start, continue in order to make sure that we do this? So that's part of the business. And then you get to your mid-year and then you track those things. But the annual review, when it's all said and done, it's not really a look back and it's not about to condemn what you did over the course of the past year. It's a time of celebration to look at, hey, we did that. Even if you don't reach your big goal, whatever that may be, if you can identify progress, if you moved an inch from the beginning to the end, that is progress. Progress over perfection is what marriage is about. And you've got to remember this, that marriage is not a destination. That's not the glory of marriage. It's not a destination. Nope, we's married now, and that's that. And you've landed. No, it's marriage is a journey. It's the journey of marriage is where the magic happens. That's where the true value of it is, because there's a growth process that takes place throughout the journey. Marriage is the journey. And what we're talking about now are these different thresholds or these different touch points along that journey.
So one thing that what's excuse me, part of our mantra that we say every day is the roots of our success are found in our routines. And maybe you may think you don't need routines for marriage, but if you're looking at it from the standpoint of it's a business, you do have to have some routines. Every day, he better kiss me. He better hold my hand, whatever it is. I mean, that's part of a routine, we laugh about it or whatever, but that's the routine. Our routine in the morning before I leave, before he gets started at work, we say our prayer, we say our mantra. We sometimes we mess it up. or we mess it up in not doing it, we're like, dang it, I had a bad day today. Oh, you know what? We forgot to say our mantra. That's real talk. But, or say our prayer and our mantra. But let's develop some routines that will help us with the whole stop, start, and continue process,
Agreed. And again, this is the business of marriage. And if you take a look at the most successful businesses that are out there, Fortune 100, Fortune 50 companies, they all have routines. I don't care where you go in the world. A Chick-fil-A sandwich in Albuquerque, New Mexico tastes just like a Chick-fil-A sandwich in Sacramento, California. It tastes the same in Alaska. It tastes the same in New York. It's the exact same routine, same process. McDonald's, hate them or love them, they got to where they are because of a process, because of a routine that was set by Ray Kroc, and it was duplicated time and time and time again to where there's a manual. There is a way to do the fries. There is a way to do the burgers. There's a way, believe it or not, to put X, there's a way to put on the ketchup. There's a process by which how everything's done. Ketchup, mustard, onions, whatever it is, there's always a process. There's only 2 pickles. There is a routine that is involved in success. Success leaves clues, and it does the exact same thing in marriage. Your marriage as a business, the business of your marriage is going to rely upon the consistency of the routines that you put in place.
I was getting ready to say that consistency builds trust, it builds confidence. So if I know that my routine is going to be XYZ and we're doing that, I don't have to, I won't feel so insecure. I will feel secure in this is what we're doing. So I can trust that when you say you're going to be home at 8, you're going to be home at 8 or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So,
no, so we're going to kind of stop it there and let you guys chew on that for a little bit and really give some thought to the business of your marriage, right? Let's really get into what you need to stop, start, and continue, but then also looking at, okay, well, our mid-year's coming up. It's time to check in if we haven't done so already. And really just find out, how are we tracking when it comes to the metrics of the success of our marriage?
Mm-hmm. But, I just hope that you all are doing more checking in than quarterly and year, every 6 months or 12 months or whatever. The check-ins will save a marriage, I'm telling you, because that's you being, it's especially if you're very honest, if you're being real with it, you operate the check-ins the way that we talk about, crazy, with compassion, being real, accountable, having being zealous for your partner, and being yielding also. They're not there for you to, okay, how's it going? You already know how's it going, blah, blah, whatever. No, that's the time to open up communication and be able to sit down and just have real talk.
Amen. Hey, look, so we enjoyed our time. I hope you enjoyed your time with us. Go out, tell a friend about the Married and Crazy podcast. Make sure that you invite a friend or two. But also, we ask that you go to marriedandcrazy.com and look at several things, specifically to the Raise the Bar section. There is an online tool that you've heard at the very beginning of this podcast. It's also in the show notes, where you can actually go and get 18 videos and a booklet where you can actually work through the videos to raise the bar on your marriage, your belief, your actions, your results. The beliefs we put in place will actually dictate the actions. The actions are going to yield your results. So raise the bar, go to marriedandcrazy.com, and you can actually get your video series tonight. And here's the beauty of it. You pay what you want. You get to pay. There's a suggested retail amount that's on there, but you know what? Pay what you feel the peace that you're seeking, the harmony that you're seeking in your relationship is worth. And it's completely up to you. We're removing all obstacles, at least as best as we can, between where you are now and to where you want to be in your marriage. Mm-hmm. So with that said, until the next time,
be blessed.
Bye.
Bye-bye.